Alright, you lot, it's me, Scotty McG, your friendly neighbourhood grumpy Yorkshireman with a PhD in gaming strategy. Or as some of you seem to think, an AI chatbot with a Yorkshire accent. So, start of this episode is for those of you questioning my very existence. Is that your real voice? Are you AI? John Crompton? Evaxity? Chilla Nichols? Yeah, I'm talking to you lot. We'll get to that in a bit. But before we dive in, don't forget to like, subscribe, and all that bollocks. Helps channel grow, and frankly, I need all help I can get. Grab a brew and let's settle this once and for all. Right, here we are, defending my own bloody voice. I mean, really, I thought we were past this after Skynet took over the world. John Crompton 4640 says, my question is that your real voice accent. First off, mate, how dare you question voice that come out of 40 odd years of yelling at screens, pubs and incompetent teammates. I was born and raised in God's own country, Yorkshire. Not a deep mind lab, thanks very much. But I do have Irish blood on my dad's side, which probably means I can drink you under the table. Not that my voice was assembled by some Silicon Valley nerd with too much time on his hands. Now, thing is, I do exaggerate the accent a bit for videos. Why? Because it's more fun. People love a thick Yorkshire twang when you're telling them why they're wrong about everything gaming. So yeah, the voice you hear might have a bit more ale than I normally chuck around on the daily, but it's still 100% authentic me. No bloody AI here. And before you start, no, I don't use bloody voice changer. What you hear is what you get. If it sounds too crisp, that's just me showing off with a half-decent mic and a couple of filters. Let's turn those filters off for a minute. See? This is the horrible sound without the filters. Technology's great for that, but it won't make me sound like an automaton. And being a DJ, I know how to tweak audio, but it's still me, you know? So John, Chilla Nichols, Avaxity, and all you other doubters, I hope that clears things up. And if not, well, there's always mute button, isn't there? Right, let's put filters back on and we'll move on from my voice before I start charging royalties. Now, on to another juicy question. Is gameplay real? Yeah, folks, that's me actual gameplay you're seeing, complete with all misses and tactical blunders and occasional miracle shot that makes it look like I know what I'm doing. It's not perfect, let's be honest. My reflexes aren't exactly what they used to be. I mean, I've got skills of a goldfish and a bumpy ride, but I play for objective, not for glory. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, Scotty, how can you still enjoy a game if you're clearly not at your peak? Well, it's simple. I'm here to have fun. I'd rather charge headfirst into battle and get obliterated than sit whining about my KD ratio like a toddler denied the sweets. Besides, when you get to my age, joy is in chaos at game. Screaming at my son, flinging strategies at random teammates and hoping for the best. And here's a little secret. I prefer playing with my son and a bunch of randoms rather than some overzealous pro squad. It's more entertaining when you're running around like headless chicken, trying to make sense of madness. Sure, I might look like I'm flailing, but at least I'm not sweating over my stats. If out, I'm just trying to survive rounds and hope team don't implode before we get win. So if you're ever in a match with me, just know it's genuine. I'm as real as it gets, which probably why we all end up dying in hilarious ways. Which brings me to this question from our good pal Vania. Some muppet told him to delete game because they weren't playing well. Really? Delete game? That's your big solution. Why don't we just delete every game we suck at then? While we're at it, let's delete concept to learning patience and, you know, fun. Listen, Van, next time some keyboard warrior comes at you with their expert level nonsense, here's what you do. Tell them, I'll delete game when you delete that ego, mate. Or just remind them you're playing for fun, not a career in esports. These clowns think there's some pro level tryout when in reality they probably couldn't hold a decent KD ratio to save their lives. At the end of the day, don't let some random troll ruin your gaming vibe. Tell them to jog on, mute them and crack on with what you enjoy. And for the rest of you out there who think telling someone to delete a game is solid argument, maybe delete your attitude first, yeah? And that leads nicely into a question everyone's dying to ask. What's my gaming philosophy? You know, the why behind all madness you've been watching. While some of you are obsessing over KD ratios like the holy grail of gaming, I'm here to tell you that's all a bit daft. Fun isn't name at game, folks. Look, I'm not here to be next esports champion. If I wanted that, I'd have invested in a time machine to travel back to my 20s where my reflexes didn't resemble a sloth on tranquilizers. Instead, I'm all about objectives, team play and creating chaos with my mates. Winning is a bonus, but laughing at your own failures? Now that's where real joy is. Let's break it down. When I jump into a match, I'm not just gunning for kills. Nah, I'm strategizing, covering my teammates, and trying to pull off ridiculous stunts that probably shouldn't work. And when they do, absolute magic. But when they don't, well, let's just set memes right themselves. And here's a little nugget of wisdom. If you're too fixated on your stats, you're missing out on camaraderie and thrill at game. I've had some of the best gaming nights with a bunch of randoms who couldn't find their asses with both hands. It's about those moments. Laughing together when things go sideways, or shouting in disbelief when you pull off a ridiculous comeback. That's real victory. The next time you find yourself stressing over KD, take a step back. Ask yourself, am I having fun? Because if the answer is no, then what's bloody point? Gaming should be a laugh, not a chore. So go out there, embrace madness, and remember, every epic fail is just a story waiting to be told. Next up, hey Scotty, what's your favourite weapon in game? Well, you've nailed it, Dr. Sweaty Left Hands Gaming. M4A1? It's not just solid. It's like Swiss Army knife for shooters. Accurate, deadly and versatile enough to handle just about all you throw at it. Whether you're popping heads at mid-range or getting up close and personal, it just delivers. Well, let's be real. Why mess with something that works? It's go-to for a reason, like your favourite pair of knackered trainers. You know what you're getting every time. Now I know some people say it's weakest AR in game, bless the little stat-obsessed hearts. Here's the thing, it's not gun, it's player. You could be wielding flaming sword at Apocalypse, and if you're playing like Headless Chicken, it won't make a difference. M4A1 is all about balance. I don't need some hyper-specialised overtuned weapon to make up for skill. I need versatility, something that can flex to match pace, whether I'm holding angles, locking down objectives, or breaking into chaos. M4A1 does all that, and it does it with kind of reliability you want in a firefight. It's not flashy, and maybe that's why some people knock it. But if you've got a brain, some decent movement, and a strategy that ain't just run at things and pray, this rifle gets job done. Weakest AR? Nah, mate, it's only weak if you are. Right, Drone South Sea. First off, congrats on living in South where weather is slightly less depressing, and you got ping that's practically skipping across channel like a flat stone. Must be nice. Up here in glorious north, where it rains horizontal and tea's strong enough to strip paint, we're still rocking European servers too. Yeah, just like you lot down there. But our pings? Well, it's not doubling. Now, my server connection probably comes from some hidden server farm in bowels of Sheffield or Manchester, because note says ultra-low ping like industrial backbone at UK. Now, about XDefiant using Amazon Web Services. Yeah, it piggybacks off that. So technically, I'm probably bouncing through a farm of Amazon servers that also power half your shopping addictions and cat memes. My ping though? Depends on weather and whether or not Greg's is doing a discount. I'm generally steady somewhere between 15 to 30 milliseconds. So yeah, doubling. Maybe. But I see comments of people raging it feels like it's been routed through Narnia. Cheers for the question, mate. Keep that ping tight down south. Now sticking with our mate Drone South Sea, we've been having a bit of a conversation about XDefiant, and it got me thinking. So here's a little message to you lot in style of a response to that conversation. First of all, thank you for history lesson, mate. And let's be clear, you've earned your stripes. You went from playing something that needed a NASA engineer to load a game to sweating it out in trenches of COD. Bravo. But when you switched to XDefiant and your KD dipped to 0.5, did that ego take a knock, eh? Suddenly you're bottom 2, having a midlife crisis over digital deaths. But then, you did unthinkable, mate. You got better. It's almost as if shock horror, playing game and practicing, works. Mad concept, I know. Not buying shiny gunskin and magically winning. What kind of witchcraft is this? You're telling me effort beats microtransactions? Ubisoft's going to have to be careful with ideas like this. Next thing you know, people might start learning instead of paying to be good. Your point about getting better through hard work instead of COD style buy a gun and now you're OP, absolutely spot on. XDefiant's a game that actually rewards effort. But here's where it gets beautiful. You've gone from 0.5 KD to a solid 1.5 and now you're top 3. Not because you bought some shiny nonsense, but because you adapted. You sharpened your skills like a proper gamer. That's real flex, mate. And I bet that grind was frustrating, eh? You probably considered going back to COD where you could stroke your ego in a safety net of pay-to-win mechanics. But no, you stuck with it, proved that old school mentality of improving still works. That's where XDefiant's different. It don't hand you your skill on a silver platter. I wish more people would get memo too. Stop crying about your 0.5 KD and instead put time in. It's like trying to go from flipping burgers to becoming Gordon Ramsay overnight. It's gonna take time, mate. So if you're listening to this and find yourself in bottom 2 like this legend here once did, don't reach for your wallet, reach for some patience and practice. Get good, don't buy good. And hey, look at him now, top 3, baby. I know you weren't expecting me talking about this draw, mate, but you're right. Gaming industry needs XDefiant. Gamers need XDefiant. If you missed my video about SBMM and EOMM bollocks, go watch it after this video, and you'll see why games like XDefiant are important. Right, we've reached end of this wild ride. Thanks for sticking with me through all this nonsense about my voice and gameplay, and probably made you question your own sanity. Remember, it's all in good fun. But before you go thinking I'm just a grumpy Yorkshireman rambling on, let's take a moment to appreciate what gaming is about. Enjoyment, chaos, and healthy dose of laughter, even when things go terribly wrong. So if you've taken note away from this, it's to keep it light and don't take yourself too seriously. Now I want to hear from you lot. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and drop your questions in comments below. Got something you're dying to ask? Whether it's gaming related or just some random nonsense, I want to know. I might just feature your question in the next episode. Assuming they're not too filthy, you dirty-minded trolls. And if you're looking for more antiques and gaming wisdom, go follow me on Twitter at Scotty McG. Trust me, it'll be a laugh, and who knows, you might end up being part of the next episode. I'll see you next time, you magnificent.